Welcome back, Wolfpack Brolis here, and this is how to use Beheeyem. So Beheeyem is going to be pretty standard until we get to that special attack. So 75 hit points, attack, and defense, but then 125 on that special attack means we're going to be able to put out good amounts of damage, potentially, and then we just go to 95 special defense and 40 on the speed. So very slow Pokemon, not really looking to outspeed, but doesn't have really tank stats either, so that can be problematic. And with the 75 base hit points, pretty much the special defense isn't really anything extra. That psychic type Pokemon do tend to have a higher than average special defense, but really this just means we get to survive an extra special attack if it packs a bit more of a wallop, but we're still at threat for getting neutrally KO'd if we're not investing into our hit points. However, with that low speed, we probably are, so 2-hit KO Pokemon that has a pretty good special attack. We got typing, pure psychic type. We've seen a lot of pure psychic type for the 5th generation, and we should know it by now. Bug, Ghost, Dark, Weakness, Resistances with Fighting and Psychic, no immunities, and a lot of neutral hits. That's pretty much going to be it. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see how to use Beheeyem, and that's mostly as a Choice Specs attacker, but man, this Pokemon can really bring on some pain because of the Analytic ability. Pokemon's attacks have 30% more power if it's last to move in a turn, so it's like a Life Orb amount of damage on your ability, which means we get to run Choice Specs as our damage, and that's going to be pretty powerful. So 125 special attack with a modest nature or quiet if we just want to make sure we underspeed for that Analytic. That's definitely an option. Is going to be really nice. 382 special attack. So suddenly very high amount of special attack, getting tons of boost, and that means our Psychic is going to be very high amounts of damage and has some good one-hit KO potential on a neutral hit. After that, I just like Hidden Power Fire as our coverage options from there. Don't want to get for Hidden Power. There's a lot of other moves that you can put right here. It does have decent coverage, but it isn't really varied coverage. That Hidden Power Fire is going to be nice though, because Psychic, you're resisted by Steel, and if you run to a Pokemon like that, you're just going to be able to do tons of damage, but a Poison Grass type Pokemon is still going to get hurt by the Psychic. So that's kind of the breakdown here, and then we have Signal Beam. Signal Beam is interesting for sure, because you're going to be super effective to Dark-type Pokemon, but you are going to be taking a hit first, which is why this hit point investment really kind of matters. I did the math, a Life Orb, Timid, Protean, Greninja, Dark Pulse won't one-hit KO you, but then Signal Beam will absolutely destroy that Pokemon in return. So those are the kind of damages and the trades that we're looking at right there. And as long as we're not like switching in and taking a hit first, Beheeyem in a neutral scale can do really well. So a super effective hit, 2-hit KO, neutral effective hits are going to be like 3-hit KO realms. Maybe a bit more depending on what it's going to be, as long as it's like a not incredibly powerful hit, but then at the same time we still have to worry from generic attacks, you know, just Kangaskhan throwing out some heavy damage could be a big problem, or any kind of other boosted Pokemon. If they have Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, or not even Choice Scarf, Choice Band, and a lot of boosting behind its damage, it does put us at threat. The idea is we take a hit, we blow them up with Analytic, and we try to trade 1-for-1 or better, and then we have coverage. Coverage can be whatever you want. You can put in the Energy Ball. Energy Ball is going to give you a nice little bit, but then you also have Thunderbolt, so that's something you can consider as well. It's mostly preference, what your team needs. They give about the same amount of super effective hits, and between all of these, you're not going to have any resisted hits, so you're going to be able to hit any Pokemon neutrally and get a lot of damage on top of them. So Beheeyem's going to be pretty solid for that. Since it's a slow Pokemon, why not use Trick Room? Trick Room means we can run that Life Orb, but we do lose our Analytic, because now we're not the slowest thing on the field with that Trick Room, because it's about moving last in the turn, not having lowest speed. Now if it was adjusted to lowest speed, then Analytic Pokemon would get a new kind of realm of damage in Trick Room, but that we don't have that, so it's just going to be Trick Room. And then I was thinking with the Trick Room we can go Charge Beam, so that way we make up for the damage. Now we're putting the 30% on our item, and then 50% from a Charge Beam stack, and then it's kind of the same thing, but this time we have Trick Room. Takes a little bit more to set up if you're going against an opponent set up Pokemon, or if you are in that 3-hit KO realm because of your hit point investment, then it really doesn't matter. Trick Room, Charge Beam +1, and now you go and destroy everything with that Psychic, or a Signal Beam. This is, again, where we get into an interesting position on that Signal Beam, because we're still going to be resisted by Steel-type Pokemon, like Charge Beam isn't a crazy amount of damage for that, but we are going to be able to obliterate Dark-type Pokemon. We're going to hit very powerfully neutral on that Psychic, and we also have Trick Room options that, you know, say we knock out a Pokemon, they bring in something that's going to heavily resist us or really threaten to knock us out, then we just switch into a slow Pokemon, and singles Trick Room, very real possibility with Beheeyem, so that can work out pretty well. So the idea is Trick Room, Charge Beam, then you get a couple turns of sweeping, and with the Life Orb and that Charge Beam boost, going to be pretty nice. As for the ability, Synchronize, the only thing that makes sense here, Telepathy is a doubles ability, so yeah, if you get burned or poisoned or paralyzed, then they get the status, and that could be pretty cool. Other than that, we also have it to where double battles. Beheeyem's really good. It has telepathy, so you set up Trick Room and you can have your ally Pokemon explode or something, and you're going to be safe from that. They can be using Discharge, Earthquake, whatever. Beheeyem can just kind of deal with it, and that's going to be pretty nice. Now, you can either go for full hit point, full special attack investment, and just play the damage with a Life Orb. Now, that is going to be kind of risky because, you know, you have 2 Pokemon potentially hitting you, so maybe Life Orb isn't the best option, but at the same time, Focus Sash, you're a little tankier than needing a Focus Sash, so kind of whatever there. As for the nature, if we are running Trick Room, we are going to need that quiet nature, and Beheeyem gets Gravity. So there's a lot of Gravity combos out there. Gravity into Hypnosis is pretty strong, Gravity into Blizzard, Gravity into whatever doesn't have perfect accuracy. You can set that up with the Beheeyem, and since it's really slow, Gravity will most likely apply before that Pokemon gets going, and then you can kind of do whatever. But that also gives you damage options. Okay, maybe just Trick Room into Psychic. Now you're throwing out pretty threatening Psychic damage. No, that's 2-hit KO realm. So that means if you have a Pokemon using Earthquake, them using Earthquake and you landing that Psychic, that's going to be a KO, and then you only have to worry about one of your opponent's Pokemon hitting you back. A lot of Trick Room Pokemon that are playing it under that Trick Room are going to be slow, but still have a lot of damage. So just things to consider, and then you can run coverage. Energy Ball, there's some rain teams out there, so nice to hit those super effective on the water-type Pokemon or something like that. Then the rest is just going to be like damage and playing up. Items, Mental Herb to make sure you get your Trick Room off. Kind of obvious when you see Beheeyem, might think Mental Herb, if not just like bulky attacker. That's something you might see. That's kind of really all I can think about it. Citrus Berry, maybe Protect with some leftovers. If you're not running Gravity, then you get the Protect on, and that could work with the leftovers. Just get a little bit of heal, maybe cause you to survive. But there's also Ally Switch. So Ally Switch is actually a very ridiculous move, and it has a huge amount of potential power. The idea behind it is switching places with your ally. So, oh, I'm going to hit a super effective move. Nope, you switch it around, and then you're going to get a lot of damage. This actually works pretty well with Aegislash, I've seen, because you can keep your Aegislash in Blade form, swap it around, and then that Blade form Aegislash now does damage while Beheeyem takes the damage. So it also works if you have a Pokemon that's like a fighting type or something, weak against what Beheeyem resists in a way, and that's kind of what you can do. So Ally Switch, I will say, it's not an easy strategy, that you have to play it a lot. You have to understand how it works, you know? Pokemon like Hawlucha can use it, Pokemon like Beheeyem use it. There are a good amount of Pokemon that get Ally Switch, and there are different strategies for each one. So it's very niche level of play, but if you understand it, you really invest a lot of time to understand how your opponent reacts to it. You know, you use it once and you don't use it again. Maybe they'll just misplay on themselves. They think, oh, that Pokemon's going there, it doesn't, and now you get a free turn to attack with both Pokemon, and it's really just getting super inside your opponent's head. At the same time, you might overpredict, underpredict, get outpredicted. It's something really weird, but it can also work out really well. So take some practice, and that's kind of all there is to Ally Switch. It's really cool, but something very special. Now for the last Beheeyem, it's really interesting because it gets Cosmic Power, so you're going to boost your defense and special defense. You can run max hit points, max defense, go with that Calm Nature, and interestingly enough, it's going to give you a perfect split between your defenses, so then we just use Cosmic Power once or twice, and we gain stats, and then we can recover. The greatest thing is when a Pokemon has a defensive boosting move and some form of sustain, so you give this bad boy some leftovers or a Citrus Berry. I feel Citrus Berry works in this situation because Cosmic Power, you take damage, Cosmic Power, you take damage, Citrus Berry activates Cosmic Power, and then that should give you that free turn. So now you take damage, recover, you're really close to full health, and then you can do whatever. Now Beheeyem gets access to the Nasty Plot, so then that lets you go into Psychic, and that's pretty much it right there. So Nasty Plot going to boost a lot of stats, so use that twice, I would think. That's going to give you a 3 times to your special attack, and then you just go and steamroll your opponents with the Psychic, and for this you will want the Analytic, so 30% on all that Nasty Plot boosting, and just really big amounts of damage while being that. But here's the problem, you get Move Slot Syndrome. That Psychic, they bring a Dark-type Pokemon, you're kind of in trouble, but if they bring a Dark-type Pokemon, then you're just in trouble anyways. So best case scenario is that, you know, you use Cosmic Power, they switch into the Dark-type, and then you go, okay, I'll just switch out. You know, your Citrus Berry's in proc, still at full health, you really just lost a turn of Cosmic Power, and a little bit of advantage from your opponent switching out, but then you just play a switch game. But once your opponent is out of Dark-type Pokemon, you bring in this Beheeyem, you go for that setup, you know, if you get 1 free Cosmic Power, even if they're hitting you super effective, you know, that's what the Citrus Berry for. Get Cosmic Power, now it turns into a neutral hit, find 1 more Cosmic Power, then you out-recover them, set up a Nasty Plot, and you go for the sweep. So that's going to be Beheeyem, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, Beheeyem is going to be, you know, just outright huge special attacker, can try to set up a singles Trick Room, doubles Trick Room with a lot of really different gimmicks, and then just the setup. So it has a lot of different things, not the best stats. So if this Pokemon got a boost like 10 to 15 in either defense. Might get really scary, maybe plus 10 on the hit points too. If it got an evolution or a mega, very scary things could happen. That's all we see for Beheeyem. So if you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.